In the vast and mysterious world beneath the ocean's surface, seahorses stand out not merely for their delicate forms and graceful swimming, but for a phenomenon that challenges our very understanding of reproduction. Unlike nearly every other species on Earth, in seahorses it is the male that carries the developing young, undergoing a process that in most animals is reserved for females. This extraordinary adaptation has evolved over millions of years, allowing these small, fragile creatures to ensure the survival of their offspring in a challenging and competitive environment. Male seahorses possess a specialized structure along the front of their bodies known as the brood pouch. This pouch is far from a simple receptacle, it is a complex, biologically active organ capable of regulating oxygen, salinity, and nutrient supply to the embryos within. During the reproductive process, the female deposits her eggs directly into this pouch, where the male immediately fertilizes them, effectively assuming the role of gestational caretaker. The journey to this remarkable moment begins with an intricate courtship, a delicate dance performed by both partners over several days. Seahorses synchronize their movements, entwining tails, changing colors, and performing a series of coordinated gestures that communicate readiness and compatibility. This ritual is not merely aesthetic. It ensures that the timing of egg transfer and fertilization is perfectly aligned, increasing the likelihood of successful embryonic development. When the female finally transfers her eggs into the male's pouch, he becomes the sole environment in which the next generation will grow. The brood pouch acts as a finely tuned incubator, equipped with tiny blood vessels that deliver oxygen and essential nutrients, while simultaneously regulating the chemical composition of the fluid surrounding the embryos. This careful regulation protects the developing young from environmental stressors and helps maintain their delicate physiology in a world dominated by currents, predators, and shifting salinity. Within the protective confines of the pouch, the embryos undergo a remarkable transformation. Over several weeks, they grow from fragile eggs into fully formed miniature seahorses, complete with tails, fins, and the tiny features that will allow them to survive independently in the ocean. The male's body performs a role analogous to that of a placenta in mammals, supplying nourishment and managing waste, while also guarding against infection. His immune system adapts to tolerate the presence of hundreds of developing embryos, preventing rejection and ensuring the continuation of life. The degree of paternal investment in this process is extraordinary, revealing how evolution can produce solutions that invert traditional roles and expand the boundaries of parental care. When the moment of birth arrives, it is a spectacle of both biological precision and sheer energy. The male experiences muscular contractions that expel the fully developed young into the surrounding water, sometimes releasing hundreds of them in rapid succession. Each tiny seahorse emerges ready to swim and survive on its own, a testament to the effectiveness of the male's unique gestational system. While the father does not continue to provide care after birth, his contribution has been essential to their survival. This remarkable reversal of reproductive roles illustrates not only the ingenuity of evolutionary adaptation but also the diversity of life strategies in the ocean, where survival often requires the extraordinary and the unexpected. After the birth of the young, the life of the male seahorse does not return immediately to inactivity, rather, he prepares for the next cycle of reproduction, demonstrating a rhythm of life finely attuned to the rhythms of the ocean. Following delivery, the male's brood pouch gradually returns to its resting state, yet it retains the capacity to host another generation of embryos within a relatively short period. This ability to repeatedly carry offspring allows seahorses to maximize reproductive success in environments where predation and fluctuating food availability can threaten population stability. The male's body, having endured the demanding process of gestation, undergoes a period of recovery, during which energy reserves are replenished and hormonal balances are restored, preparing him for future reproductive challenges. The broader ecological context of male pregnancy further highlights its evolutionary significance. In a marine environment filled with predators and competition, the division of reproductive labor between the sexes provides a crucial advantage. While females produce eggs, males ensure their protection and development, effectively doubling the efficiency of reproduction compared to species where only one parent provides care. This strategy also enables a higher survival rate among offspring, as the embryos benefit from a controlled environment during their most vulnerable developmental stages. Male pregnancy, therefore, is not merely a curiosity, it is a sophisticated adaptation that has allowed seahorses to thrive in habitats ranging from dense seagrass meadows to coral reefs, where the ability to produce and protect multiple generations of young can mean the difference between persistence and local extinction. Within this system, the interaction between male and female is continuous and dynamic. Courtship behaviors extend beyond initial mating, sometimes continuing in a subtle but persistent rhythm that strengthens pair bonds and synchronizes reproductive cycles. In certain species, males and females form semi-permanent pairs, returning to one another season after season, ensuring that each new clutch of eggs receives the careful attention of a father fully prepared for gestation. This level of social coordination demonstrates that male pregnancy is not only a physiological phenomenon but also a behavioral and ecological strategy, one that integrates movement, environmental cues, and reproductive timing into a cohesive system optimized for survival. From a developmental perspective, the male's brood pouch represents a remarkable convergence of anatomical innovation and biochemical precision. The pouch secretes substances that regulate embryonic growth and protect against infection, effectively creating a controlled internal ocean that shields the young from the hazards of their external environment. Each embryo receives just the right balance of nutrients, oxygen, and protective molecules, ensuring uniform growth and preparing them for life outside the pouch. This process reflects a level of paternal investment rarely seen in the animal kingdom and challenges preconceived notions about the limitations of male reproductive roles. In seahorses, fatherhood is not symbolic, it is an active, essential, and highly specialized process, one that demonstrates the extraordinary flexibility of life and the subtle complexities hidden within the ocean's depths. The release of young seahorses into the ocean marks the beginning of an existence defined by both fragility and resilience. As soon as they leave the protection of the brood pouch, the tiny creatures, each a miniature version of their parents, must fend for themselves without further care. This independence from birth is a striking feature of their biology, as the father's role, though crucial in gestation, ends abruptly once the offspring are expelled into the water. Survival at this stage is a matter of chance and instinct. The newborns drift among seagrasses, coral, or floating debris, clinging to vegetation with their tiny prehensile tails. Predators lurk everywhere, from small fish to larger invertebrates, and only a fraction of the hundreds born will survive the critical early days. The reproductive strategy of producing large numbers of offspring ensures that at least some will live long enough to reach maturity. A balancing act between high mortality and the persistence of the species, this reliance on numbers rather than prolonged parental care connects seahorses to a broader ecological strategy seen in many marine species. Yet the quality of paternal gestation remains a distinguishing factor. Because the embryos have been nurtured in the father's pouch, they emerge more developed and capable than they would if left unprotected as free-floating eggs. The brood pouch has effectively given them a head start, supplying oxygen, nutrients, and protection against environmental stress. This investment allows the tiny seahorses to enter the world better prepared for the dangers that await them. Even though many will not survive, the system increases the odds of at least some reaching adulthood, thereby preserving the population and ensuring that the unusual reproductive strategy of male pregnancy continues through generations. The uniqueness of this reproductive process has drawn considerable attention from scientists who study not only the biology of seahorses but also the evolutionary pressures that shaped such an unusual system. In a world where maternal care is the norm, seahorses demonstrate that nature can invert expectations when environmental demands and survival benefits align. The division of reproductive responsibilities allows females to generate new eggs more quickly while males provide a secure environment for existing embryos. This efficiency in reproduction may have given seahorses a selective advantage in the shallow, vegetation-rich habitats they occupy, where predators are abundant and hiding space is limited. The role of the male as a gestational carrier is, therefore, not just a biological oddity but an essential adaptation to life in vulnerable ecological niches. From an evolutionary perspective, male pregnancy in seahorses offers insights into the plasticity of reproductive roles in the animal kingdom. It demonstrates that natural selection is not bound by rigid patterns but instead finds solutions suited to particular environments and life histories. While few species outside the seahorse family have developed such a system, its success highlights the vast diversity of strategies available to living organisms. It reminds us that reproduction is not solely about producing offspring but also about ensuring their survival in the most efficient way possible. By inverting the usual expectations of pregnancy, seahorses reveal that parental roles are far more adaptable than once believed. And that evolution's creativity knows few limits in the pursuit of life's continuation. The image of a male seahorse in labor, contorting its body to expel tiny, fully formed young, is one of the most unusual scenes in nature, yet it embodies the adaptability and ingenuity of life in the oceans. After releasing sometimes hundreds of offspring into the open water, the male returns almost immediately to a state of readiness, capable of entering into a new reproductive cycle within days. This rapid turnaround maximizes reproductive potential, creating a rhythm in which females continue to supply eggs while males provide the protective incubation necessary for their development. In this way, seahorses have perfected a cooperative system that divides effort efficiently between the sexes, ensuring continuity of the species in ecosystems where survival is never guaranteed. The ecological importance of this system extends beyond individual reproduction. Seahorses occupy fragile habitats such as seagrass beds, mangrove roots, and coral reefs, environments that are themselves vulnerable to human impact. By carrying young within their bodies rather than leaving eggs exposed in the environment, males reduce the chances of predation on early developmental stages, contributing to the persistence of local populations. This efficiency is particularly valuable given that seahorses, unlike many fish, are not prolific spawners year-round. Each brood represents a significant investment of energy and resources, and the male's role as incubator has allowed these creatures to adapt to habitats where predation pressure is high and juvenile mortality would otherwise threaten species stability. Beyond their ecological role, seahorses hold a symbolic place in scientific thought as living proof of nature's ability to challenge expectations. Their reproductive system forces us to reconsider assumptions about gendered roles in biology. In a world where maternal care is often regarded as the central model of reproduction, seahorses demonstrate that paternal involvement can reach an equal, even greater level of commitment. This inversion does not diminish the role of females, who still invest heavily in egg production, but it highlights the flexibility and diversity of strategies through which life can persist. It reminds us that evolution is not linear or fixed, but endlessly inventive, capable of producing arrangements that defy familiar categories. As human activity increasingly threatens marine ecosystems, the story of the seahorse also serves as a fragile warning. These animals are vulnerable to overfishing, habitat destruction, and use in traditional medicines, with populations in decline in many regions. The very uniqueness that makes them a subject of fascination also places them at risk, as their slow reproductive rates cannot easily compensate for heavy losses caused by human exploitation. Protecting seahorses requires preserving the delicate habitats in which they live and recognizing the broader ecological web of which they are a part. To understand male seahorses giving birth is not simply to marvel at an evolutionary curiosity, but to glimpse the intricate balance of adaptation and vulnerability that characterizes life beneath the waves. In the end, their story is not just one of biological wonder but of the urgent need to safeguard the diversity of strategies that life has crafted across millions of years of evolution.